Good day, everybody. How's it going? Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Meister here, bringing you once again another Bixton episode. And I just want to start this one off by saying, ask and you shall receive, guys, because I've been getting a lot of comments recently asking me to expand and upzone all of downtown and its surrounding areas. And that's exactly what we're going to do in this episode. We're going to go on a massive upzoning spree in the downtown area. And the idea behind this is there's a few signature buildings that I really want to unlock. So we have some nice residential towers that we're still kind of far off from unlocking. You know, we have to level up some of the existing towers here in downtown to unlock these ones. But we also have some pretty interesting office towers that we have yet to unlock. I don't think we're ever going to get to like these last two, for example, because the requirements are just so outrageous. I don't really think we'll ever get to 12,000 cells of just skyscrapers. But this first one here, I think sounds reasonable. You know, we're at 1,344 cells of high density office space out of 3,000. So maybe after this episode, we can get close. If not actually unlocking this building by the end of this episode. So that's kind of the idea of why I'm doing this. But to be honest, I kind of like the scale of downtown as it is. And with all of the expansion that I'm going to do this episode, I'm still going to try to keep the scaling of downtown to an appropriate level. You know, I don't want things to get out of hand, and I don't want like the entire city to just become skyscrapers. So I'm going to be mindful, you know, I don't know how I'm going to do this fully yet, but, you know, as we start expanding, I'm going to like zoom out from time to time and see how it goes. But ultimately, what my goal would be after this big downtown expansion project, what I also want to do is push all of this medium density residential, including all these row houses and whatnot, out farther from the city. So I'm going to push everything probably out to about this highway here, and then everything farther out from that is just going to be suburbs, because we have so much land, guys, to play with. You know, I just want to bump out the suburbs all the way out here. We don't really have a ton of fertile land on this map, so, you know, I doubt all of this is going to be taken up by farms, so may as well just expand the city as much as we can. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Of course, we have the demand to do this, so I think we should be in pretty good shape. Now, I'm going to make sure that anarchy is off because I am going to rezone a lot of buildings here. And a lot of the buildings that I am going to upzone are probably residential, I would say. And the reason I say that is because I just don't have any, you know, like naturally you would upzone your residential zones to like a bigger kind of zone, but I don't have any other office space anywhere, so I'm just gonna kind of sacrifice some of these residential zones to create these bigger buildings. So let's get into it, guys. Let's see how far we can get this episode, and you know, we'll probably get a ton more people in the city by doing this. And like I was saying, I don't want to totally destroy the city either, so I'm going to be mindful to some degree to still have like a nice skyline throughout the whole city. You know, we have a lot of apartment buildings here. Perhaps we can rezone. Let's do this. And we have some commercial zones as well. Let's get some more upzoning going along our main road. Let's do that. But not only do I want to do just offices, I still want to do high density residential zoning as well. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to not completely destroy all of these individual blocks. You know, you still want some variance. You don't want two massive skyscrapers right, you know, bunted up against each other. So the way to avoid that is just to zone you know, some smaller areas around your big residential zones. And then over here by the hospital. Oh yeah, wow, look at that. So just with these buildings, we've completely eliminated our office demand. So that's actually something I didn't really consider in this episode, is how is our demand going to react? You know, we do have a ton of demand at the moment, but that might not be the case throughout this whole episode. And oh my god, what is going on with this zoning? This is really weird. And not only should I be upzoning just on this side of the river, let's move on to this area here where we have a lot more medium density, I would say, that can easily be upzoned to bigger buildings. All right, not really sure what is going on here, but we appear to have a lot of people sick and dying in the city, so I don't know, guys. There's something in the water. It may look all nice and clean, but people are dying. All right, so I'm expanding on the downtown right now. I'm gonna take a step back and I'm gonna let all of these new zones develop. You know, there's new skyscrapers just kind of sprawling up all over. Like I've mentioned a bunch of times before, my simulation speed for this game has slowed down to a crawl. That's just how the game operates right now. And, you know, hopefully that is going to improve over time. But what I can work on now is, let's get into expanding this big zone over here. So right now, I have a transition along this road here between all of my medium density row houses and such, and then kind of more into a suburban type setting with all single family homes. So we're just going to be blanket covering this whole area here with medium density. So I'm just going to switch over to my paintbrush here, and we are just going to go to town, upzoning all of this. And this, I think, is going to lead to a pretty massive population influx. So this will be pretty exciting to see. But I'll get into this in just a minute. I have to be careful because even though the city is not really expanding footprint-wise, with all of this new wave of new residents that are going to start to move in, it's going to tax our services to a level that's never been seen before. And actually right now I'm kind of falling behind already on that, because let's check. If we check our education info views here, you can see that I'm nowhere near having enough elementary schools for the entire city, despite having an entire flood of elementary schools, high schools, and whatnot. High schools were just on the cusp of being okay. That's probably gonna not be the case in not too long. But yeah, elementary schools, we're just getting hammered, guys. We do not have enough schools by a long shot. But You know what? With all of this upzoning, I think we might want to invest in some extra elementary schools, maybe near the downtown area, since it's going to look a bit more fitting, I think. So let's actually maybe take a minute and do that before expanding any further. Perhaps I want to go through downtown here and potentially add some more schools. So this might be a bit weird. But if I add a school here, for example. And the challenging thing about this building as well is it's not a corner lot. It's really like a middle of the block wall-to-wall building. It looks kind of weird having this on a street corner, because normally street corner buildings, you know, they're built on the street corner, so you would have a facade on both sides of the building. Now this building would look fine kind of in the middle of the block, which I guess I could do if I move this building over just a couple of blocks. And then if I zone this into mixed zonage, that might be a bit better, and then that would allow me to upzone these row houses. And then maybe these row houses too. I'm going to upzone to medium density apartment buildings. That might actually be okay. But nonetheless, yeah, these buildings are a bit wonky. You know, you got to be careful of where you put them. And I think we're going to require more than one. So let's see, maybe somewhere else near downtown we can squeeze one of these buildings. They are fairly large in footprint as well. But oh, it looks like we can probably, yeah, we can perfectly fit one here. You know what, I'm just gonna go for it. We're just gonna ignore that, the lack of a facade here on the corner. Now what I want to do is we're going to upgrade all of these new schools that we're plopping down, because we certainly are going to need this extra capacity. Let's see if we can't fit one more. Maybe over here more out in the suburbs. We can have a big old honkin' building somewhere here. You know what I could do is plop a school kind of in the middle of this district. Build an upgrade, and then let's do maybe a whole bunch of like mixed zoning over here. And you know what? This will kind of be a transition between downtown and the rest of the city. And you know what? I may as well upzone some of these row houses too. I'd like to keep some because it still looks kind of cool. But at least upzone some of this. Oh my god, it's pretty cloudy here over the city right now. It's looking a little dark. All right, and you know what? Let's do some high density here as well. Our demand is bounced right back up to full speed. Yeah, let's do some high density in just a couple spots, and then perhaps I can upzone a lot of these houses, you know. Here, let's do row houses all throughout here. We already got some apartment buildings there. Yeah, this is gonna look so cool, guys, when it's done. I'm actually excited to see how the city's gonna turn out. And what about over here in College Hill? You know, this area is pretty low-lying. I do enjoy the look of this. And oh my god, this is so weird, guys, seeing like... because this is the Tampere map, and I've been to Tampere now, so I'm looking at this map now, remembering like what is where. Like I literally walked down this street in real life. It's a lot wider in real life than it is in this game. But... it's so cool. There's like a big stadium here, and then there's a big shopping mall like right about here where this building is. So yeah, it's kind of weird reminiscing on my time in Tampere. You know what? Actually, guys, I'm just thinking now, I can't skimp out on low rent housing. You know, it's good that we're providing all kinds of housing to the local residents, but we still need to provide some affordable options, especially with, you know, this whole area being so close to a university. Oh my god, why do we have low density here? No, 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 we can't have that. Here, let's upzone all of this into affordable housing. Let's get some more affordable housing here right next to this school. If it's ever gonna build up, not really sure why it's not, but that's okay. But let's keep going here. Let's keep on upzoning all of this. Let's do some more apartment buildings here, here. Apartments are really, really good to have near any kind of campus. You know, it provides cheaper housing for any students. Yeah, some of these row houses are kind of weirdly set up. Let's do a mixture of medium density, maybe, you know, an odd high rise here and there. All right. Expansion seems to be going quite well over here. Let's just keep on going with the row housing. I think I might actually keep some single family homes though. Maybe more kind of like on the outskirts, but then in the middle here we'll do all row houses and maybe the odd, you know, affordable housing. And then some more medium density housing too. So this upgrade, I guess we can call it, that we're doing today, all of this upzoning and rezoning of the city, it's really gonna give Bixton a kind of New York vibe. Or if not New York, maybe like a Philadelphia or even like a Baltimore kind of vibe. And I know some of you are probably shaking your heads, but you know what? The overall vibe of all of these buildings in default City Skylines 2 are very, you know, Eastern American style. You know, all these brick kind of buildings, you know, all of like these brick wall-to-wall buildings, for example. So this is really, really gonna change the dynamic of the city. So I'm gonna go hop back onto this part of town. We do have a lot of single family homes here too. I think these are quite close to downtown, a little too close to my liking. So we are really going to be upgrading this whole area. And kind of the same theme as before, you know, we're going to be plopping some medium density apartments. Oh, did I zone that to the right thing? Whoa, the zoning is all weird here too. It looks like the zoning has moved at some point, but the houses weren't demolished. And I don't know about you guys, but I always get Montreal vibes from this particular neighborhood here, just because it kind of reminds me of the Mount Royal neighborhoods. And you know, in downtown Montreal, literally like 2 seconds from literally the central business district, there is single family homes in some of the more, you know, affluent, wealthy parts of the downtown. And some of these neighborhoods are kind of nestled into the hillside. And I don't know, I've always just kind of gotten like a nice Montreal vibe from here. But that's going to change here really soon as we're upgrading all of these homes to bigger, not necessarily better housing. And at the moment, I don't really have any huge commercial business demand, but I think we should upscale at least some parts because, you know, all this low density is looking a little out of place. But this is totally wild, guys. Just look at how much upzoning we've already done in this episode, and my residential demand is still sky high. Like, this is crazy. What is actually taking place here under the hood? So basically everything apart from taxes is what is negatively influencing all of this demand, and taxes are really not even that high right now. You know, I would argue that this is pretty low. And you know, we're still making a decent chunk of cash, so I don't really feel the need to lower them at the moment. But yeah, there we go, guys. I'm really excited about this episode. Look at all this, like all these new buildings here. Okay, but I gotta be careful though, because one thing this seems to have done is now we don't really have that smooth transition from downtown anymore. We had just kind of have like a random block of skyscrapers. So what I'm gonna have to do here is rezone some of these buildings into, I'm gonna have to do a mixture of mixed zoning as well as some medium density housing, just to create kind of like a smoother transition from all of these big skyscrapers into some smaller neighborhoods. But I mean, yeah, this is so cool. Here, I think I might actually upzone some of the, oh, this is all mixed zonage. Yeah, I gotta watch out here. Oh, I like that building. I think I'm going to demolish maybe... Oh, that was part of the same building. Okay, let's save that one, because I kind of like this building. Here, I guess just this one. There, so I think we've effectively eliminated all of these single-family homes near downtown. There might be a couple of stragglers here and there, but that's okay. And how are things going over in the eastern part of town? Everything is slowly zoning up. So I'm gonna skip ahead, guys. We'll check on how the downtown looks like, and then we'll assess what our next moves are. And well, after quite some time, this is what we've got. And you know what? I was a bit skeptical at the start of this episode, saying that, oh, I don't want to expand too much. I don't want the downtown to get disproportionate with the rest of the city. But honestly, I gotta say, guys, this is not too bad. You know, the city kind of looks like a Chicago-sized downtown, or I guess maybe in Toronto now these days, you know, with the CN Tower and everything. It's not overly huge, I would say. Now, we are facing some growing pains, though, I would say. Our school system is kind of in shambles still, despite me plopping down like 10 extra elementary schools. I guess we're just gonna have to hammer down at some point, maybe take up like a whole block somewhere and just build like a massive school complex or something. I don't know, we gotta figure that out at some point. One thing that I would also like to do is, I've noticed that there is a lot of cars parked all over. Some streets are just filled with cars, and most of the parking spots that I'm clicking on right now are just completely filled with cars. So obviously there's a shortage of parking. You know, the city has a really good public transit infrastructure, but you know, a lot of people are still car dependent. So let's go into our progression development screen here, which we haven't accessed in quite some time, and let's use up some of our huge reserve of progression points, and we're going to build a automated parking building, which will kind of add to the diversity of skyscrapers, because I think this building is relatively tall. Oh yeah, it is. So it does have quite the footprint as well. We're going to have to destroy an entire city block pretty much to plop this building, but let's see where we can maybe fit this building near downtown. You know, guys, I think I've chosen a location right over here, just across from downtown. There's a little block here, nothing too exciting, except, you know, there's a lot of service buildings here. We have our central bank, research institute, our police headquarters, you know, a ton of services are in this area. So I'm gonna sacrifice this little block of old, you know, row houses, and we're gonna make room for a nice modern automated parking lot. Oh, something appears to be blocking me. What could that be? That appears to be a large playground, which we are going to have to relocate. But I think I can probably just scooch it over here, and we should have enough room for this parking lot. Yes, we do. Look at that, guys. Perfect. And honestly, this looks like just any other building. It's not really obvious that it's a parking garage at all. So, you know, I guess it kind of adds to the uniqueness of downtown. Okay, so yeah, I guess that's it for downtown. I'd like at some point, guys, to really like get down into the nitty-gritty of downtown. You know, maybe decorate some of these streets, because like literally every street in downtown is just car parking. I think we should maybe change some of that to maybe some nice treed streets, just like this. Yeah, you know, just get down to the lower levels, because I feel like we're always so zoomed out all the time. So anyways, that's it for downtown. Let's take a gander over here in the eastern side of town. You can see that I basically just upzoned everything to row housing, and this looks fantastic. You know, this kind of looks like some, you know, neighborhoods that are straddling downtown in like Baltimore, Philadelphia, all that kind of stuff. So really, really cool. And then, like I mentioned in the beginning, as we go farther out of the city, then that's when we get into our more single family homes kind of thing. And do we ever have enough room to expand? All right, I'm gonna ramble on for a couple minutes now. We've expanded downtown a ton this episode, and most of this expansion has been residential with some office buildings. You know, I guess a fair bit of office buildings, but despite this, we're just a tick closer to unlocking this next signature building, the multi-story multimedia building. And I've realized that to unlock this building and the next ones after that, I'd have to make huge sacrifices to the aesthetics of the city. Because after all, I am putting a big importance on the aesthetics of the city to some degree, and I am still aiming for a typical North American style city, and I feel like, as we have it right now, I think downtown is at an appropriate size for this kind of city, especially with the outwards expansion that we're going to do. We're going to add a ton of suburbs out here in the east, over in Auburn as well. And I think this downtown is pretty much as large as I want it to be. And the sacrifices that I would have to make to unlock these signature buildings, not only the office buildings, but some of these residential towers, I think those sacrifices would be too great, you know, to the aesthetics of the city. So what I'm proposing, guys, and I want you to let me know what you think down in the comments, is what if we just unlocked everything? I can just set this save game to unlock everything, and that will give us access to the very few signature buildings that we have left to unlock. And really, that's the only buildings as a whole that I have left to unlock, apart from, actually, oh yeah, that's right, I am maxed out. We're a megalopolis. We've reached the end of the progression milestones. So that means that I can just go ahead and use up all of my progression points and buy all of the remaining buildings that I've yet to unlock. So let's go ahead and do that, and at least we'll have that done. And there we go, boom. Oh my god, not even an achievement. Ugh, missed opportunity, guys. So yeah, we're maxed out. Literally the only thing left to unlock at this point is signature buildings. Now, what do you guys think? Should we do it? I think we should, because I think these extra buildings that we can shove into downtown would add so much character, more diversity to the downtown, because let's face it, you know, the vanilla buildings are decent, but there's not enough variety to really make like a really cool downtown. You know, a lot of these buildings are just kind of generic, and they're, you know, kind of the same height a lot of the times. I just feel like adding a few more signature buildings would add so much character and life to this downtown. So let me know what you think in the comments, guys, about this idea of just unlocking everything and we'll revitalize the downtown once more. I think it would be pretty cool. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is what do we do with this industrial zone? Now, this was the very first industrial zone that we built in the entire city. And like a lot of cities throughout the world, a lot of these industrial port areas near downtown are disappearing and are being replaced with things like parks or more housing, things like that. And I'm just thinking of Toronto for an example, where its old port is being completely stripped of any industry and it's just being totally replaced with, you know, housing and parks and more amenities, things like that. What do you guys think we should do with this old port area? I'll let you guys decide in the comments as well, and I may actually do a poll on this with a few options of what should be done here. Should we just keep it as industry? Should we revitalize it and provide some more housing? I don't know. What do you think would be pretty cool? We do have a couple of power plants here. Honestly, they're not really necessary at this point because we have a giant coal power plant on the outskirts of town that are supplying more than enough power for now. So there's nothing here that is totally necessary for the functionality of the city. So just food for thought, guys. Let me know. So that's going to be it for this episode, guys. I really hope you appreciate the new downtown. I certainly like it. You know, it's growing on me. And yeah, I'm excited to see how the rest of the city is going to expand. So guys, thank you so much for watching. As usual, drop a like down below, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And also, if you haven't caught word, I have reinstated my Patreon account. So if that interests you, if you want to support the channel even further, I suggest you go check it out. There's some pretty cool perks to becoming a patron. So yeah, go definitely check that out. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.